We live in an intelligent design that's designing its own future as well. Nature is a design principle for life above certain different levels of, say, reality as we know it or want it to be. And so nature benefits from superconscious intelligences and subconscious intelligences. In the mineral world, we come to a point in which we don't know what gold is, diamonds are. We don't know what the mineral world does until we want to employ it into our use, into our design. But those things were formed by electricity, magnetism, and light. All of the things that are mineral came out of those three design principles. We would not have many of the technologies if we were not using the same design principles, electricity, magnetism, and light. Because that is what makes animation possible. Not only of the physical body, we call it the etheric. The etheric gives the physical body dynamism. Electricity and magnetism and light gives technology their dynamism. It is not artificial. Our interpretation of it is artificial because we only employ it to do the thing that we want it to do.
An instrument.
Instrument.
That's what you call prosthetic.
It's all prosthetics of our own imaginations and limitations to some degree. Because we fall out of the conscious into the subconscious use of the mineral world. Most of our use of the mineral world is not very conscious because we only wanted to do the things that we don't want to do. If we want to think superconsciously, we don't need AI to think superconsciously. Our calculations could be exact, but we don't aspire to superconscious engagement of our own potentialities. We don't want the mysteries again. Blackness that we're talking about. We want light, electricity, and magnetism to work as slaves for us. It's another form of colonizing.
Yeah.
Potentialities.
This sometimes we're conditioned to, one of the reasons why this stuff has such a vexing kind of energy on us is because we're trying to convince that energy to be a particular way, right? And so this is the same. I kind of connect this to the same thing about the AI pieces. Is that some of the energy that we experience before we're born isn't supposed to only be contained and modulated in the individual self. So why the reason why we have so much trouble with it is that we keep trying to jam it into the individual self, and the energy is saying, no, that's not my function. That's modern. And if you keep trying to do it in that way, you're going to continue to create this level of pain or this level of uncomfortableness that actually may be good for you to transform in the long run. Right? So it's like this thing that feeds back on itself, right? So you keep doing this thing and you keep saying, man, I keep bleeding. And then you keep doing it, you say, I keep bleeding. And then at some point you go, maybe I don't want to bleed no more. Maybe there's something else I can begin to consider that I wouldn't have been able to consider if I hadn't kept going. Right? That's the blackness pieces. Right? And so when I think about AI, I think about edges, I think about this person that talked about having some sense of themselves before they were born. Those are the edges to be explored, not run through, not kicked through, not slammed through, right? Those are the things to, like I say, respect protect, respect those boundaries, peer over them, And if you have enough room to leap over it, do it. If you don't, that's cool too. You can back up, but you don't have to run through it. Sometimes the knowledge is by what you don't do, not by what you do.
The fear, I would say one last thing with it. The fear of AI is the fear of the underworld that wants to reclaim the unconscious. We fear what lived in the underworld before we came to the upper world, what we now call land.
Right.
We landed here from the underworld.
Right.
Old stories tell us we came from inside of the earth. We didn't fall from the sky. Earth evolved us, and we emerged and became intelligent life. The soul forces in the cosmos incarnated into that evolutionary earth potentiality, and it's still true.
Yeah, yeah.
All our languages came from the earth.
Yeah, yeah.
All of our dreams comes from cosmos into earth through the unconscious.
Yeah.
First, before we actually create schools to make careers out of it.
And the idea of emerging from something, from the blackness, from the darkness, emerging from it, and then beginning to kind of make your way from that place. We get so freaked out when we can't see in the muck. When we, you know what I mean? We want it. It's monstrous. And so if it's monstrous, it must be stopped. It must be killed. It cannot be explored into. And this current corporal conditioning hasn't given, modernity has said that the ways in which we inquire into things only can be with modernity. We can't, you know what I mean? And so these pieces around how we began to condition ourselves to work with the underworld and understanding underworld will not be done by using the same modern, quote unquote, modern ways of inquiry.